Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia, and I thought we could take a couple minutes to talk about Season 5 of Young Justice. Well, as many of you know, we have one more episode left in Season 4 of Young Justice. This season has been called Phantoms, and now we really know why. And the season is reaching its culmination next week, with fans wondering what's next. Now, as many of you know, Young Justice Targets is only a couple weeks out, and that will continue the story of the team after this season, so we do have a minor follow-up to the 4th season of the show. The problem is, many of us are wondering when we are going to find out about a Season 5, and I thought we could take a couple minutes to talk about it. Now, fans are pretty excited to find out when this news, or if this news is going to happen, and I unfortunately think we are still in the if category, but I don't think we should get too overly worried yet. Remember, this show has a history, and really only Season 1 and Season 2 came out on an appropriate schedule. After Season 2, as many of you know, it was cancelled, with us eventually getting a Season 3 when the show returned on the DC streaming service. Once the service started to go defunct, we were put back into another waiting pattern before we found out about a 4th season. Now, this is clearly a pattern, and we should probably look to that a little bit to temper our expectations on when we're going to find out. Now, I honestly don't think anybody is holding out on us. I don't think Greg Weisman, Brandon Vietti, and the rest of the team are not telling us any news to keep us watching the show. They've made it really clear, along with comic artist Chris Jones, who works on Targets, that the show has not been renewed as far as any of them know as of today, and I'm going to be honest with you, I kind of believe them. All three of them are pretty interactive with fans, and I do feel like we would have had some clues about this if they had one to give before now. Now, I do have a couple of fears I want to share with you, and these are very serious things. Probably the biggest thing we have to worry about right now is the recent Warner Bros. Discovery merger. It's become pretty clear to many people that David Zaslav is a bit of a penny pincher, and he's looking to make money wherever they can. This is what a good businessman does, but when you're fans of certain properties, this can be a pretty painful process. I do have a couple of worries that maybe all of our trick cards might finally be up. After a fan campaign to get it brought back for Season 3 and a big delay before Season 4, I have to wonder if the show's been through all of its chances and they will indeed leave us at the end of Season 4 with nothing else. I also do worry a little bit about Greg and the crew. All of these guys have plenty of other opportunities for work, and the longer that HBO Max and Warner Bros. Doesn't secure a 5th season, the more of this talent will disappear and potentially move on to other projects, making them not part of the overall development process, and that could definitely impact the possibilities of a Season 5. Now, don't let this get you too worried, because we have some really good news as I dig into this that might address some of our fears. Like I said, David Zaslav is all about making money, and that might be the thing that plays into Young Justice getting renewed again. Now, I had to do a little bit of research, and I found an LA Times article that talked about how much most preschool kid-level animated shows cost, and generally, they run $275,000 to $350,000 per episode. We don't have any official word on what the Young Justice budget was, but there is a lot of internet rumors that suggest it was about $10 million. This would put the show at about $400,000 per episode, which if you consider a preschool kid show is about $350,000, that's really pretty on par and inexpensive for the development of something that has this much of an adult audience. Keep in mind, other DC shows like Peacemaker actually cost $185 million for the season. That's right. Word is Young Justice was $10 million and Peacemaker was $185 million. And considering Young Justice is 26 episodes, and it still only cost 5%. That's right, 5% of what it cost to make Peacemaker, and you have more than 2.5 times the number of episodes. There's also the very, very high demand. I actually went over and checked out Parrot Analysis, and they put into context the level of demand for the show. Once again, considering the season cost $10 million, Parrot actually places the show in the outstanding category for demand. And check this out, the show has 22.9 times the demand of the average TV series in the United States. That is how popular this show is. Now, if you're a fan of HBO Max, you see quite often the show is in the trending category, and this really does give us an indication of how well the show is doing. Now, we often get reports from HBO on how well shows are doing and what's the most popular streaming shows. and Young Justice is often very much in the top runnings on that list, even beating out shows like Game of Thrones and The Sopranos, so it does go to show you there's a ton of rewatch value for HBO in the show. I honestly think the show will get renewed, and they're going to make us wait just a little while. If I was predicting when this will happen, it'll probably be at SDCC coming up at the end of the summer. This would put us about 2 or 3 issues into Young Justice targets, which does give us an idea that the door is not closed to a further season, they just haven't approved it yet. Now, obviously, until we get something from Greg Weisman or HBO themselves, nothing's official. We can keep hoping, we can keep pushing, and we can keep using those hashtags. Renew Young Justice Season 5, and Save Earth 16 are the ones you need to use. I've been seeing a lot of stuff from HBO Max and fans replying, you have to love how positive the messages are, and hopefully the management at HBO and the new leadership at Warner Brothers, specifically you, David Zaslav, will see how great this show is, how much the fans love it, and how much they support it. Now, until then, make sure you reach out and buy whatever Young Justice stuff you can. This will drive the show's possible renewal and is really the main thing we can do, besides binging the show on HBO, to make sure we get that last season. So, until we find out more news, what do you guys think? What do you think the odds on Young Justice getting a 5th season over on HBO Max? And how disappointed would you be if the show was canceled once again? Sound off in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you're not getting any updates. Peace.